Have you ever wondered why you keep ending up in relationships that drain your spirit? The answer is simpler than you think. From the moment you meet, a woman is naturally discovering who you are, how you carry yourself, whether you have boundaries, and most importantly, if you respect yourself. The problem isn't that she's evaluating you, it's that you are not evaluating her in return. You're so busy trying to prove your worth that you forget to ask the most crucial question: is she worthy of me? This mindset makes you a magnet for toxic behavior, because your gratitude for a little attention begins to outweigh your need for genuine respect. This is the imbalance that shatters your confidence and dooms your relationships. You're auditioning for a role in her life, when she should also be auditioning for one in yours. It's time to stop seeking validation and start requiring respect. Today, you're going to learn not just how women test you, but how to run your own tests to identify the types of women who will make your life miserable before you waste months or years discovering their true nature the hard way. Every interaction with a woman contains multiple layers of testing that operate below your conscious awareness. When she shows up late to your date, she's testing whether you'll enforce your own boundaries or accept disrespectful behavior. When she mentions her ex-boyfriend repeatedly, she's testing whether you'll become jealous and insecure or remain confident and unaffected. When she creates minor drama over trivial issues, she's testing whether you'll accommodate her emotional instability or maintain your psychological center. When she makes unreasonable demands, she's testing whether you'll sacrifice your own needs to please her or stand firm in your own value. These tests aren't conscious manipulation. They're biological programming designed to evaluate male fitness and compatibility. Women are hardwired to push boundaries and create pressure because historically, only strong men could provide protection and resources in challenging circumstances. But here's what most men don't understand. There are right and wrong ways to respond to these tests, and your responses determine not just whether she remains interested, but what kind of treatment you can expect throughout the relationship. Pass her tests by maintaining your boundaries and standards, and she'll respect you and treat you well. Fail her tests by being overly accommodating and desperate, and she'll lose attraction while escalating her demands and poor behavior. The cruelest irony is that the very behaviors most men think will win female approval, being agreeable, accommodating, and eager to please, are exactly what cause women to lose respect and interest. Before you can test women effectively, you need to understand what you're testing for. There are specific personality types and behavioral patterns that create misery in relationships, and learning to identify them early can save you years of suffering. The emotional bomb. This woman explodes into rage, tears, or drama at the slightest provocation. She interprets normal relationship challenges as personal attacks and responds with emotional nuclear warfare. Everything becomes a crisis that requires your immediate attention and accommodation. Living with an emotional bomb means walking on eggshells constantly, never knowing what innocent comment or action will trigger her next explosion. Your nervous system remains in a state of chronic stress as you develop hypervigilance around her emotional states. The validation vampire. This woman requires constant attention, compliments, and reassurance to maintain her self-worth. She demands that you provide the emotional stability she cannot generate internally, making you responsible for her mental state. She'll create insecurity and drama whenever your attention is focused elsewhere, ensuring that your energy remains directed toward managing her emotional needs rather than pursuing your own goals and development. The controller. This woman believes she knows better than you how you should live your life. She'll gradually erode your autonomy by criticizing your friends, career choices, hobbies, and decisions until you've surrendered most of your independent judgment. Controllers often start subtly, offering helpful suggestions that slowly escalate into demands and ultimatums. Before you realize what's happening, you've restructured your entire existence around her preferences and opinions. The entitled princess. This woman believes that her mere presence in your life is a gift that entitles her to constant special treatment. She expects you to provide experiences, resources, and attention while offering minimal reciprocation. She views relationships as transactions where your role is to enhance her lifestyle, while her role is simply to exist and be appreciated. Any expectation of mutual effort or contribution is met with indignation and accusations of unreasonableness. The chaos creator. This woman thrives on drama and instability because it provides excitement and attention. She'll manufacture problems, create conflicts, and sabotage peaceful moments because calm feels boring or threatening to her. Living with a chaos creator means never experiencing genuine peace or stability. Just as you resolve one manufactured crisis, she'll create another to maintain the emotional intensity she's addicted to. Understanding why women test men requires recognizing the evolutionary pressures that shaped female psychology over millions of years. Women who chose weak, unreliable, or easily manipulated partners faced increased risks of abandonment, resource scarcity, and genetic disadvantage for their offspring. Natural selection favored women who developed sophisticated evaluation mechanisms to assess male quality before committing reproductive resources. These assessment strategies became embedded in female psychology and continue to operate even in modern contexts where survival isn't at stake. Women test your confidence because confident men historically had higher status and more resources. They test your boundaries because men who enforced their standards provided better protection and leadership. They test your emotional stability because emotionally reactive men made poor decisions under pressure. These tests aren't personal attacks or deliberate cruelty. They're unconscious biological programs designed to evaluate your fitness as a potential partner. But understanding their evolutionary function doesn't mean you should accept unlimited testing or boundary violations. The key insight is that passing these tests demonstrates the psychological traits women are evolutionarily programmed to find attractive, while failing them triggers biological responses that kill attraction and respect. Female testing strategies operate across multiple dimensions simultaneously, creating a comprehensive evaluation of your character, confidence, and relationship potential. Boundary testing. She'll violate small boundaries to see if you'll enforce larger ones. Showing up late, canceling plans last minute, or making unreasonable requests are all ways of measuring whether you have standards and the backbone to maintain them. If you accept boundary violations without consequence, she learns that you lack self-respect and will escalate her testing behavior. If you enforce boundaries calmly and consistently, she recognizes that you're not desperate and have options. Emotional stability testing. She'll create emotional turbulence to see how you respond under pressure. This might involve picking fights over trivial issues, bringing up past problems, or manufacturing jealousy scenarios. Your response reveals whether you can maintain psychological equilibrium during challenging moments, or whether you become reactive, defensive, and destabilized by female emotions. Investment testing. She'll make demands on your time, energy, and resources to measure how much you're willing to sacrifice for her attention. This could involve expensive date requests, excessive communication demands, or expectations of constant availability. Your willingness to overinvest signals desperation and lack of options, while your ability to maintain balance demonstrates that you have a full life independent of her validation. Competition testing. She'll mention other men, flirt with alternatives, or create scenarios where you might feel threatened by competition. This tests whether you become possessive and insecure or remain confident in your own value. Jealous reactions reveal that you view her as above your league and fear losing her, while calm responses indicate that you consider yourself an equal or superior option. If you find this analysis of female psychology helpful and want to understand more about the hidden dynamics that control your relationships, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This kind of uncomfortable truth gets suppressed by algorithms that prefer comfortable fantasies, so your engagement helps more men discover these insights. While women are evaluating you, you must simultaneously be evaluating them. This isn't about manipulation or game playing. It's about gathering crucial information before making significant emotional and financial investments. The goal of testing women isn't to trick them or create artificial barriers. It's to observe their natural responses to mild challenges and requests, which reveals their character, interest level, and relationship suitability. The respect test. Make small requests that require minimal effort, but demonstrate whether she's willing to invest in your interaction. This could be asking her to meet you at a specific location, suggesting she bring something to your date, or requesting that she accommodate your schedule preferences. Her response reveals whether she views the interaction as mutually beneficial or expects you to handle all logistics while she simply shows up. Women who are genuinely interested will happily make small efforts to facilitate your connection. The boundary test. Establish clear preferences and limits to see whether she respects them or attempts to manipulate you into changing them. This might involve communication schedules, physical boundaries, or activity preferences. Her response to your boundaries reveals whether she respects your autonomy or believes her desires should override your standards. Boundary pushers will escalate their demands throughout the relationship. Understanding how to interpret a woman's responses to your tests is crucial for making accurate assessments about her character and relationship potential. High interest. Good character response. She complies with reasonable requests enthusiastically and adds extra value where possible. She respects your boundaries while expressing appreciation for your standards. She contributes to the interaction proactively and makes your life easier rather than more complicated. This woman recognizes your value and wants to demonstrate her own worthiness. She understands that relationships require mutual effort and is willing to invest in creating positive experiences together. Moderate interest response. She complies with requests but without enthusiasm or additional effort. She respects boundaries but may occasionally test them to gauge your consistency. She contributes when asked but rarely takes initiative. This woman is mildly interested but probably has other options she's considering. Low interest response. She negotiates, delays, or makes excuses when you make requests. She pushes back against boundaries and tries to change your standards to suit her preferences. She expects you to handle all logistics and planning while she remains passive. This woman doesn't view you as a high-value option and expects you to prove your worth through excessive effort and accommodation. She's probably using your attention as validation while pursuing other men. Explosive response. She becomes angry, offended, or dramatic when you make reasonable requests or establish basic boundaries. She interprets your standards as personal attacks and responds with emotional manipulation or punishment. This woman is a psychological bomb who will make your life miserable through constant drama and emotional volatility. Her explosive response reveals both low interest and poor character. Run immediately. Women naturally categorize men into different investment levels based on their perceived value, and understanding these categories explains why you receive certain types of treatment. The provider track. If she views you as a provider rather than a lover, she'll minimize physical intimacy while maximizing your investment requirements. She'll expect expensive dates, gifts, and constant attention while offering minimal reciprocation. Provider track men are seen as resources to be extracted from rather than partners to be pleased. She'll maintain just enough interest to keep you investing while always having reasons why deeper intimacy must be delayed. The validation track. If she views you as a source of validation rather than genuine romantic interest, she'll enjoy your attention and compliments while keeping you at an emotional distance. She'll respond positively to your interest, but never reciprocate with equal enthusiasm. Validation track men serve as emotional support systems and ego boosters. She'll keep you available for when she needs attention but won't prioritize your needs or desires within the dynamic. The lover track. If she views you as a high-value romantic option, she'll actively pursue your attention, accommodate your preferences, and invest in creating positive experiences together. She'll be physically affectionate and emotionally available. Lover track men receive the best version of her personality and behavior. She'll be eager to please, flexible with your requests, and proactive about maintaining your interest. Understanding which track you're on allows you to adjust your investment level accordingly and avoid overcommitting to women who have already categorized you as a utility rather than a prize. Most men fail at testing women because they're terrified of losing female attention, even from women who treat them poorly. This scarcity mindset makes you accept unacceptable behavior because you believe this might be your only chance for female companionship. Scarcity thinking transforms you from a selective evaluator into a desperate supplicant. Instead of determining whether she meets your standards, you're focused on proving that you meet hers. This psychological framework guarantees poor treatment because it positions her as the prize and you as the contestant. Women can sense desperation instantly, and it kills their attraction while encouraging them to exploit your neediness. The man who's afraid to lose a woman will accept behavior that confident men would immediately reject. Building an abundance mentality requires recognizing that there are millions of women in the world, and many of them would be thrilled to be with a man of your value. This isn't arrogance. It's mathematical reality that should inform your decision-making. When you truly believe you have options, you become willing to walk away from women who don't treat you well. This willingness to leave is the foundation of all successful relationship dynamics because it ensures that she must treat you well to keep your attention. Today's dating environment makes testing more crucial than ever because traditional social structures that once regulated female behavior have largely disappeared. Women face fewer consequences for poor relationship behavior, while men face greater risks from choosing poorly. Social media provides women with unlimited validation from multiple sources, reducing their motivation to invest in individual relationships. Dating apps create the illusion of infinite options, making women less likely to appreciate good men when they find them. Legal and cultural changes have shifted relationship power dynamics in ways that can devastate men who choose wrong. False accusations, financial exploitation, and emotional manipulation carry greater consequences than ever before. These environmental factors make it essential to evaluate women thoroughly before making significant commitments. The costs of choosing poorly have increased dramatically, while the social pressure on women to behave well has decreased substantially. Men who fail to adapt to these new realities by implementing rigorous testing protocols will continue to suffer the consequences of poor partner selection in increasingly dangerous ways. Certain psychological patterns and personality traits create predictable relationship dysfunction that no amount of love, patience, or effort can overcome. Learning to identify these patterns early protects you from years of suffering and wasted potential. Cluster B, personality traits. Women who display borderline, narcissistic, histrionic, or antisocial personality features will create chaos in your life through emotional volatility, manipulation, and exploitation. These conditions rarely improve and often worsen under relationship stress. Victim mentality. Women who consistently blame external factors for their problems and refuse to take responsibility for their life outcomes will eventually make you responsible for their happiness and success. Their learned helplessness becomes your endless burden. Addiction issues. Women struggling with substance abuse, social media addiction, or other compulsive behaviors will prioritize their addiction over your relationship. Their decision-making will be compromised by their need to satisfy their compulsions. Financial irresponsibility. Women who demonstrate poor financial judgment, excessive materialism, or entitlement to your resources will drain your wealth while contributing minimal value. Their financial dysfunction will become your financial crisis. Family dysfunction. Women from highly dysfunctional family backgrounds often carry trauma and learned behaviors that poison relationships. Unless they've done significant therapeutic work, they'll recreate familiar patterns of chaos and conflict. Effective testing requires being willing to disqualify women who fail your evaluations, regardless of their physical attractiveness or your level of loneliness. This strategic disqualification is the difference between ending up with a quality partner and settling for someone who makes your life worse. Most men are afraid to disqualify women because they fear missing out on romantic opportunities. But the opportunity cost of staying with the wrong woman is far greater than the cost of remaining single while searching for the right one. Every month you spend with an incompatible woman is a month you're not available to meet someone who could genuinely improve your life. Poor relationships don't just waste time, they actively damage your confidence, resources, and future prospects. Strategic disqualification requires developing clear, non-negotiable standards and consistently enforcing them, regardless of external pressure or internal loneliness. This discipline separates men who find great relationships from men who settle for whatever is available. Beyond basic requests and boundary setting, there are specific testing methods that reveal crucial information about a woman's character, values, and relationship potential. The service test. Observe how she treats service workers, subordinates, and people who can't benefit her directly. This reveals her true character when she thinks no one important is watching. The stress test. Pay attention to how she handles unexpected challenges, disappointments, and pressure. Does she become angry and blame others, or does she adapt and problem-solve constructively? The gratitude test. Notice whether she appreciates your efforts and expresses genuine thankfulness, or whether she treats your investment as expected entitlement. The contribution test. Evaluate whether she adds value to your life through her presence, skills, or support, or whether she primarily consumes your resources while providing minimal benefit. The loyalty test. Assess whether she supports you during difficulties and speaks positively about you to others, or whether she criticizes and undermines you when it's convenient. These tests reveal the difference between women who will enhance your life and those who will drain it, regardless of how charming or attractive they might initially appear. The brutal truth is that most men will read this information intellectually, understand its value, and then completely fail to implement it when they encounter an attractive woman who shows them attention. Your biological programming makes you prioritize short-term mating opportunities over long-term strategic thinking. When a woman expresses interest, your brain releases chemicals that override rational decision-making and make you focus on securing her approval rather than evaluating her suitability. Social conditioning has taught you that being selective with women is somehow wrong or sexist, even though women have always been highly selective with men. You've been programmed to feel grateful for any female attention rather than viewing yourself as a prize to be won. Most men are also too lazy or impatient to implement proper testing protocols. Testing requires discipline, strategic thinking, and the willingness to delay gratification, qualities that modern culture actively discourages in favor of instant satisfaction. Finally, most men lack the abundance mentality necessary to walk away from women who fail their tests. Without genuine options and self-confidence, you'll rationalize poor behavior and lower your standards rather than maintain your requirements. For the small percentage of men who actually implement rigorous testing protocols, the transformation in relationship quality is dramatic and immediate. When you become selective about who receives your time, energy, and resources, you naturally attract and retain higher quality partners. Women respond to selectivity with increased respect and effort. When they realize they must earn your attention rather than simply receiving it by default, their behavior improves dramatically as they compete for your approval. Testing also builds your confidence and self-respect by proving that you have standards and the backbone to enforce them. This internal shift radiates outward and affects how everyone treats you, not just romantic partners. Most importantly, strategic testing ensures that you only invest in relationships with genuine potential for long-term happiness and growth instead of wasting years with incompatible partners. You quickly identify and connect with women who truly enhance your life. The man who tests women strategically becomes dangerous to female manipulation and attractive to high-quality women. He stops being a victim of poor partner selection and starts being the architect of his romantic destiny. The choice is yours. Continue accepting whatever treatment you receive from women who view you as disposable, or develop the strategic thinking and selectivity that creates the relationships you actually want. Most men will choose the familiar suffering of bad relationships over the temporary discomfort of being selective. But for those willing to implement these principles, a completely different romantic reality awaits. One where you're the prize being pursued, rather than the desperate pursuer hoping for scraps of attention. The question isn't whether this knowledge works, it's whether you'll have the discipline and self-respect to use it.